All right, welcome back to another interview on the Great Rabino. Today I have Nima Omidvar, who is a basketball coach. He's done high school, college, and we're here to talk to Nima. I know most of my fans are used to having me interview Jews. That's part of the niche of the blog. In full disclosure, Nima is not, but he has this awesome story that I thought was really great to share with our fans. Nima, how you doing today?
Jeremy, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to go down memory lane and talk about the Jewish State Lions out of Rockville, Maryland.
Awesome. So I came across your story doing research this year for the Final Four, which I do every couple of years. I try to seek out these stories. Yours was awesome because at 18 you began coaching at Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School, which for those of you who know is on the East Coast. And you became their basketball coach, very successful. Tell me how that job came about and what it means to you today.
Yeah, so it means a lot to me still to this day. How it came about, I graduated high school. My high school coach, Pat Cook, gave me the opportunity to coach our high school summer league team. So essentially, the guys I just graduated with. And unbeknownst to me, every day when I would go to the summer league gyms in Montgomery County, Maryland, we have a very well-established summer league. Actually, our basketball infrastructure in the DC area in general is very well organized and established. And I would just go to the games early. If we played at 7, first game's at 5, I'm there. I'm just chit chatting with everybody in the gym and not knowing anyone really in the basketball world as an adult because I was a kid that just became, a high school graduate. I just decided to strike up conversations every day with different people, and we would win some games, and here I am, this loud, charismatic uh, 18-year-old, which no one knew I was 18. I didn't tell anyone. I actually was very like self-conscious of that. I didn't want anyone to kind of discredit what we were doing because of that. Vic Littman, who was the athletic director and the head varsity coach at the Jewish Day School, happened to be in the gym several times to watch me coach. Fast forward a couple months later, I'm at Frederick Community College, trying to chase the dream of playing hoops, realizing really quickly it ain't going to happen. But I'm there, and I get a call randomly on my, and I vividly remember because I had a cell phone. It was my first cell phone. It was very small, and get a call, and no one has my number, so I'm like, okay, who could this be? And it's Vic Littman saying, hey, I saw you coaching this year in summer league. Would love for you to interview for our position of head basketball coach. Cool, great. Interview for the position. Nervous as all get out to get it, and trying to figure out, did I interview well, whatever. And he calls me and says, hey, we're gonna offer you the position, and it only pays $5,000, which at the time that was the highest paid job I had for like the next 8 to 9 years. And I was like, yeah, of course, like I'm in. And that just started this journey that has led me to where I am today.
That's amazing. I think also you talked on like summer league. My experience is that summer leagues or spring leagues are some of the most best places to develop. I assume as a coach, but also certainly as a player. I mean, some of my best memories of basketball were spring league because there's a little less structure and a little less, structured plays. You have structured plays, but this just doesn't, there's no record that goes up in the paper, right? And so I always felt a little bit more freedom to sort of explore how to play. Did you feel that in your first coaching experience, and now you're coaching at a much higher level? Did you ever feel that those spring leagues and summer leagues gave you a little more flexibility?
You know, what you're saying theoretically is 100% correct, and I should have felt that way. I thought I was coaching the Washington Wizards. Okay. It was the most important thing to me. That's why I would go to the gym early and stay to the last game. I scouted everybody. And it meant a great deal to me. We played Montrose Christian, who's one of the top powers. This is where Kevin Durant went to high school. At the time, he wasn't on that team. But they had Linus Kleiser, they had Uche Uchefu, who went to Florida State. I'd never seen a player that big with so much skill and just talent. So we were all in awe of him. We held the ball almost the entire game against them. I was very proud of that. People were yelling and screaming at me. I'm just tempting the fans like, come on, let me get here some more. We're gonna hold it for last shot with 4 minutes to go. I'm screaming it out loud. So we wanted to win at all costs, which in retrospect, as a coach, not good. It should have been more about the development of the players, but that was my goal to get those wins. And then subsequently, after I was the head coach at Jewish Day, Jewish Day never participated in the Montgomery County Summer League. I was adamant that we would have to do that. But for the culture within our basketball environment, this was time for vacation for families and to do other things. We even had a game once where we had 4 players, one of which was a 7th grader, the brother of one of my varsity kids, and we won the game. And it's still one of my crowning achievements. Anytime I think about going into a game, I'm prepared to play. If we got 4 guys, I know what we got to do. So the memories that I got from the summer league, priceless. Didn't experiment like I probably should have. We treated it like it was game 7 every single game in the NBA Finals.
Good. I mean, and sometimes you have to treat things like that. I was similar. I'd go to any game I could. I mean, Chicago and Maryland have these incredible basketball cultures. And people don't, unless you're from that area and immersed in it, whether you're good or not, as long as you're immersed in it, it's hard to explain because the level of competition and the desire to win is so large, and so important. It's sort of like, what people say about Texas football. So you leave Charles E. Smith eventually, and you began coaching college right after, or what's that story and where have you been?
Yeah, so I was at the Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School for 2 seasons. After the first season, we won the PVAC championship, and that was a big crowning achievement for us in our school. St. Anselm's at the time was the reigning champs for multiple years. They had a 1-3-1 zone that no one could seem to crack. I certainly couldn't crack it in high school. I never saw 1-3-1. And so I didn't know what to do. Again, I'm 18 years old. We actually, at the time, but before we go into my next step, there was like 4 times the championship game was postponed because of snow. And so because of that, I was able to just watch games on TV, and I just happened to watch Washington versus Arizona, and Lute Olson used to run a version of a 1-3-1. It wasn't really a 1-3-1, but again, in my younger years as a coach, I couldn't quite decode that. And we just stole that offense, what Lorenzo Romar did. I just stole it all, and we called it Washington. And I tell the guys, listen, we're not allowed to go to the school because it's a snow day, but let's meet at this outdoor court, and we're going to walk through some plays and get ready for this championship game. Parents not thrilled, but all the kids were like, we're going to do it. We're going. Me and my assistant get there an hour early. We shovel out the court, and we walk through these plays, and we won that championship game by 21, which was, it's still one of, I'm smiling because it just gives like, hey, we did what we had to do to win that game and have that memory and have that experience. After that year, I was actually asked to come coach at some other schools, and I just couldn't will myself to do that. I'm a nobody. I'm still a nobody. I'm just the guy that got lucky, got to coach, and I took it really serious. And I stayed for another season before I then went to St. John's College High School in Washington, D.C. As an assistant so I can learn. At that point now, I made in my mind, I do want to be a college coach. I need to learn more. I understand what my weaknesses are. I've been in a basketball bubble, and now I want to expose myself. St. John's College High School was a top 10 high school team in the country at that time, and we had a McDonald's All-American and Chris Wright. And the Washington Catholic League is not arguably, it is the best high school basketball league in the country. The first place team of the league that year was DeMatha, who had several pros playing JV. So that's how good they were. That's how good we were. And I then went to Paul VI Catholic high school. So here I am, an Iranian who's not Jewish or Catholic, and I'm coaching in these various arenas and spaces where, culturally I'm getting to learn a lot, and then I'm also basketball wise getting to learn a lot. Before I then ultimately went to UNC Charlotte as a college coach, as a grad assistant.
So that's a big jump. So tell me a little bit about college coaching and the difference between, in your experience, like the high school level and the college. Obviously, recruitment is probably is the elephant, right? That I mean, there's some recruitment in high school, but not nearly the same kind. So what were some of your responsibilities in the differences between high school and college coaching?
Yeah, so the differences primarily rely on the business side of basketball and college, and it's hard to really explain or really gain the experience without being in the fire, if you will. And so that's, as a graduate assistant at UNC Charlotte, my responsibilities were pretty limited. Coach Lutz gave me some pretty good responsibilities in terms of recruiting. I always marketed our kids. I had a travel ball team that featured, future NBA kids like Victor Oladipo and Jerry and Grant. And, we were largely unknown. So I tried to market those kids to get them recruited. And so I was able to market UNC Charlotte. After that, I went on to Bowie State University, which was a historic Black college, another, space where obviously I'm not Black. So now I'm coaching in another culturally different place where I get to learn more. And so those are some of the major differences in terms of the business side. In the Washington Catholic League, we recruited very similar to college. There's limits to the number of schools that a prospective student can visit. You can only visit 3. In college, you can only get 5 visits. So there was a parallel there, and it was very competitive. Everyone recruited the best kids in the area. We all identified them. We all knew who they were. So recruiting is ultimately recruiting. It's similar to any sort of sales. You have to build relationships. You have to, sell your product to the best of your ability. So there were a lot of parallels there. But the major difference in college is it is a business, and then you have to couple in, dealing with donors, dealing with media, dealing with just a little bit higher level and higher stakes, demands and requests for the players and what they're going through. And you can write a book or a manual on it, but it's never going to prepare you until you actually get your hands in the mud, if you will, and get your hands a little dirty with figuring that part out.
So you also got to go, we were talking about this earlier, some really, there was like sort of a college sports Jewish renaissance. So you got to coach Eitan Chemerinsky and Jacob Susskind, who were a part of that. I mean, there was a couple of years ago where there were probably like 20 Jewish kids and all doing sort of well. And that Cornell team with Eitan had John Jarquez, who was a great player in that team, went to the Sweet 16. There was a kid, Brett Harvey, who led the country in free throw percentage. I mean, that's not like the greatest, achievement, but it is.
As a coach, I would say it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that. Shoot free throws, make them.
yeah, and others. So have you have had some experience with some of the Jewish players who are a little more religious? What is that experience like for someone who doesn't come from that sort of world to then relay that either both be compassionate to and empathetic to, but also relay that to a team that may or may not understand that?
Yeah, what a great question. So, the biggest thing is you understanding that, obviously this is religion, and it's very important to that individual, their family, their culture. And so it's not a negotiable. It's not a something that, hey, can you get in the gym on Saturday night with us? Like, no, that's not even an appropriate question to ask. So as a coach who, as I earlier stated, everything mattered to me. I wanted to win everything. It did really teach me about just having, I don't know if empathy is the right word, but just a higher level of understanding that, this is bigger than basketball, and that you don't ask someone to compromise on what's so important to them. Also taught me that with watching Eitan Chemerinsky and what he did to get himself to where ultimately he was and where he is now as a man. He's a very successful young man in the world of business. As he was an Orthodox Jew, he wasn't able to participate during the Sabbath, but that didn't mean he didn't work just as hard as everyone else. He worked harder than everyone else in other times to make up for it and surpass, those that maybe had the 7 days, if you will, right? So that taught me the value of just the quality of work that is important for any athlete. It's not about just getting in and punching a clock. How hard are you working in the times that you're working? Eitan really showed me that. But as you said, it really also allowed me to teach our players that maybe weren't Jewish or in sense I've coached. I myself don't have any religious denomination, but I've coached Muslim players. I've coached players 7-Day Adventists. I've been fortunate to coach other players from other religions and cultures, and having that understanding that was brought to my attention from coaching at the Jewish Day School and kind of acquiring that skill set as a coach to teach everyone else. We have to be not just understanding. That's not enough. We have to be supportive. We have to really embrace this person and their beliefs and give them the assistance and assets needed to get to where they want to go, because not only where they want to go, it's where we want to go as a team. We need everyone. It's really been priceless. I've since really aligned myself with various charities like wheelchair basketball. These are not parallel things, but you have an understanding that someone that is in a wheelchair still wants to play basketball. That's not to say that someone that is of the Jewish faith or the Orthodox Jewish faith, to be specific, on a Saturday night doesn't want to play basketball. We have to be understanding of that. And the recruiting schedule doesn't really favor a Jewish basketball player when most tournaments are on Friday night, Saturday all day, and then on Sunday. That's a really difficult proposition for often the only means to get exposure, because they don't want to miss school during the week. So, Eitan overcame all that. I'm proud of him for that. Looking back on it and knowing what I know now, he's never going to have an obstacle slow him down to whatever his goals are. He's a very humble young man, but he would never say that. So I'll say it for him. But anything he set his mind to, he could achieve. And so that type of perseverance really resonated with me, and it's allowed me to take that experience to other young men who I've coached, who now, have been in the NBA. I coached a young man, CJ Williams, who averaged 3 points as a junior in college at NC State. And he's playing in the NBA with the Timberwolves and started a lot of games for the Clippers. And he too didn't even start in the NBA. He went overseas in Cyprus, one of the lowest leagues. But taking these skill sets from other players and just trying to feed it to them and show them examples is what helps other players down the line get to where they want to go.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things I've most realized about doing this site over the last 12 years is that sports really is the great equalizer, right? It really is.
Yes.
People like, oh, I'm the sports rabbi, and I say, no, I'm not. That's never something I wanted to be. It's never I just like sports because of what I think it teaches us about human nature and team. And like, wouldn't it be great if we had more teamwork and understanding? I think this is going on a lot in the Middle East right now, is that there's a lot of sports organizations working towards peace, because once you're on a team together, it doesn't matter your religious affiliation, where you're born, who your mother is, who your father is. It matters that you're working together on a common goal, and that's where we need to start from, right? Whether it's a basketball team, whether it's a country, whether it's countries, whether it's states, not to be political, because this is not a political blog at all, but like, wouldn't it be great if all of our senators and Congress people started playing basketball together. Maybe they could share a little bit more and be a little more empathetic to people, to who the person across the aisle is.
No question. Totally agree with that. Think about Remember the Titans, that film,
Yeah,
kind of similar storyline from a racial perspective. And to that point about politics, here being in Washington, D.C., we all recall there was a very tragic shooting when politicians were playing softball. And you kind of peel that story back a little bit, and you see the people across different sides of the aisle were intermixed on the teams. And subsequently since then, I've seen again, as someone that's surrounded by politics, I live, in front of the Capitol building. You see stories where someone says, I might disagree with my colleague, but softball, we agree, or things of that nature. Sports is a phenomenal unifying force because, like you said, when you put on that uniform, everyone that's ever donned this logo at Charles E. Smith Jewish Day School, whatever their differences, a lot of their unifying obviously is being Jewish, but you might have a fanhood of a different football team or, whatever, what have you, automatically brings you together. And that unique bond just can't be replicated often in a lot of other environments.
right. Nima, I appreciate your time, man. It's been great getting to know you. I'm out in DC when it's not COVID, once or twice a year, so we'll hang out. And I appreciate your time, and best of luck to you, and keep on balling.
Thank you, Jeremy. I look forward to that. I want to leave your viewers with one last thought. I started coaching at the Jewish Day School at 19 years, or I'm sorry, 18 years old. And I had a really big goal and vision for myself as a career as a basketball coach. No matter what you're doing in life, there is no limit to what you can accomplish. And there's no reason, anything can't be done. As a youth growing up, I would think, well, maybe I can't be in the NBA because I'm Iranian, because there was no other Iranians. Maybe I can't be a head basketball coach because I started at the Jewish Day School in college. Well, I'm setting out on this mission to give inspiration and hope to anyone, particularly in sports, but in any walk of life, that no matter what you want to achieve, you can. I've been fortunate to go to 7 NCAA tournaments, 2 Sweet 16s. I've coached 14 NBA players. It all started at a small private Jewish high school in Rockville, Maryland. And I'm so proud of that and grateful for that opportunity. So to all out there, opportunities are all around us. You get an opportunity, take full advantage of it, and make the best of it. There's no limit to what you can achieve and accomplish if you really put your mind to it.
And Nima, where can people find you on social media? I know you have a website.
Yeah, so my website's really just a glorified resume. I probably need to update it too. It's probably something I should get done. But social media is my full name, at Nima, Nima Omidvar, Omidvar. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and Facebook. I float around a lot on Twitter and Instagram. And currently I'm starting a new basketball tournament and event in Aruba, which has been a fun endeavor. And I look forward to getting, back into college coaching and doing that as well. But, feel free to send me a message. I about once a month get a random message from someone that says, "Hey, I found your story just like you did, Jeremy." And, I'm thrilled to share it because others did that for me as I was going through my journey. And I want to be able to be a resource to anyone out there that is looking to do the same.
Awesome. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.